All right. Well, it looks like I've got 10 people in the. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear me right now. All right. Perfect. All right. So we got some people pouring in. Just started. It's a lovely night here in Maine for that. It's getting pretty cold outside. All right. So I've got Lincoln DMZ, Jassius Chiraxes from France, Farmall Fanatic, WTF Mike, Dummy Boy Smith, Carl Ellert, sorry, Joshua Cheney, J-Bo, John Grindle. Hey, John Grindle's here. Scrapper John. All right. I want to give this a couple more minutes. See if any more people want to pop in. See how you guys are doing this evening. So tonight's live stream is going to be a little bit short. It's probably going to be a little less than an hour. I don't have my my technical guy with me, Bob Gill, who usually helps with these things. I'm better at taking technology apart than using it. All right. Loud and clear in Kittery, Maine. Nice. Indiana. Howdy, Ken. Kevin, yep, I'm doing fine. Thank you. Hope you're doing well as well. You mean your partner in crime? You mean your partner in crime? Yes, my partner in crime. Yep. Yeah, he's definitely a smooth criminal, that one. And welcome, Big E. Thanks for joining us tonight. All right, so we're up to about 20. All right, we've got Bananarama going on in here. Yeah, I might know that Gill Skills guy just a little bit. Topic tonight? Really not. With these live streams, I'm really not quite sure yet. I know this is like my third one. Not really quite sure where to go as far as topics. From the live streams that I'm learning this live stream stuff from other people, and they seem to go more with the chat than really hit a topic. I might raise up a few things. Like one of the things I want to talk about was one of the folks here in the audience, Scrapper John. So the whole month of February is going to be videos. All my Friday videos are going to be items that he provided. It's pretty much all like medical equipment, so it should be pretty interesting. So Ken says, I always took things apart, never put them back the way they were until I became a mechanic. Well, there you go. And to actually learn how things go back together. All right, thank you. I know strongly consider eBay before scrapping. Love your videos. Yes. eBay is, yeah. eBay, it's definitely more profitable. I know that a lot of people ask, hey there, Green Street. Are pallets recyclable? They're repurposable. I don't know so much about recyclable. But yes, I mean, as far as the eBay is concerned, it's a lot more profitable. I've actually got a video coming out. Oh my God! Wow, thank you, Mike. That's actually like I think the first live chat I've gotten. So with the what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So I've got a video coming out where I had a friend give me a few laptops they wanted me to sell on eBay. They were old, kind of crappy, and he wanted me to just scrap them. And I let him know. I said, this is really you could make more money with these if you were to sell them on eBay, even if just the parts. So out of just one of them, the 2 RAM chips that I pulled out, they sold for $40, which which is weird because I had the laptop posted for like $20 for a couple of weeks and it didn't sell, and I just pulled the RAM chips out of it and they sold within 2 days. So it was kind of weird. I have about a 4. I might pull out my pacemaker. Yeah, don't do that. You might need that. I have about a 4x8x3 crate full of boards of all sort. How should I organize myself to strip them out the quickest? Ooh, um, I assume we're talking circuit boards here. That really depends. I mean, are you just doing this to solely do gold recovery? Do you still want to sell the boards after, or what's left on the boards? That's a little bit of a complicated question. How should I organize myself to strip them out quickest? Gold and metal recovery. All right, so then really, if that's what you're doing, the fastest method would be to get like an air compressor and an air hammer with a chisel tip, and just start going through the boards and rip off one thing at a time. That if you want it, you start off with like all the IC chips, pull those off all the boards. That way you don't have to sort anything out later. Maybe do like 10, 20 boards at a time. Pull off all the IC chips, collect those up, put them in a bucket. All the gold plated pins or anything that you pull off that you recycle, do it all in like in sections, 10 to 20 boards at a time. That way you're not stuck sorting things out later, which can be a real pain. And I mean, the air hammer trick works phenomenal. I mean, it's seconds and you're done. Have I ever scrapped an AED machine? No, I haven't. I imagine that would be interesting. That's going to be probably a good sized transformer in there. Yeah, no, I have not scrapped one of those yet. Do you have a problem getting rid of your plastics from scrapping? No, I don't. The town that I live in has a recycling program. We have a transfer station where we can bring all those plastics in and they recycle them. So anything ABS or any plastics whatsoever, they'll take and they'll recycle. Hot sand from John Grindle. Yeah, the hot sand method works really great for small boards, like cell phone boards. Large boards, they draw all the heat out of the sand, and it takes a long time for the sand to heat back up again. So for small boards, are great. Hey, Ward Wilson, welcome to the group. All right. Do you get more if you strip aluminum panels from air conditioner Moose? I'm wondering if you're referring to like stripping all the fins off of the copper tubing. If that's what you're referring to, Francisco, yeah, I mean you're going to make a little bit more money, but it takes a lot of time. And unless you have a good pair of gloves, a lot of band-aids, I mean, you can really shred your hands trying to get those things up because you have to run through with a utility knife every single line of that copper pipe, so it can take a while. All right, so Zach says, in addition to my 2 pallets of KitchenAid mixers, I also got 42 Dell laptops, 12 computer towers, and 14 45-pound copper bearing motors. Alrighty, well, those KitchenAid mixers, you're probably going to make, well, unless you mean 1,445 pounds of copper bearing motors, yeah, you might still make more money off the KitchenAid mixer selling the parts on eBay. I mean, those machines are expensive. I mean, the cheapest ones, bowls, I mean, those will sell for, $30, $40. Any attachments, knobs, all kinds of that stuff. It's amazing what people will spend. All right. Propane torches, yep, they do make short work of unpopulated boards. They can, yep, they can. You want to make sure that you're doing that in a well-ventilated area, though. And right now, my garage is pretty freaking cold, so I can't really do it in there. Thank you. It is 2 years of e-scrap, and it is daunting. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it can be. When you let it build up, it really can be. Sometimes one of my favorite channels to watch is E-Waste Ben, and sometimes when he go like that one marathon that he was going through, like his garage or his shed or whatever, Wow. I mean, the amount of stuff that he had in there. I mean, I felt overwhelmed for the guy just looking at it. When you let it build up that much, it becomes a little less fun. All right. And Nature Nerd Outdoors. All right. And Fatima, you're awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm just happy that I can put stuff out there that anyone would find useful. Pretty decent source of gold in weird places, old cameras. Couldn't believe it when I saw it. I've taken a few cameras apart, and some of them, I mean, I'm assuming you're talking mostly like the digital cameras, because the older cameras, I haven't found really anything in them. And some of the newer ones, eh, I've not had very good luck with them. But then I've only taken a couple, and they were really cheap ones, so maybe there's a big difference. But you're right. There's gold in all kinds of strange places. Hello, Ward Wilson. Welcome. Oh, I'm losing track here. All right. I use a hot air gun. Yep, those work well as well. They can take a little while though. But if you don't have an air compressor or an air hammer, yep, that use whatever works best for you. It's all going to parts. There you go. Is it best to sell IC chips or refine the IC chips for gold? Joshua Cheney, it really depends. It depends on your comfort levels, your time. I mean, refining gold from IC chips, it's a timely process. You have to incinerate everything, then you have to break it all down and sift it, and then I've got a bucket of 20 pounds I'm going to be doing hopefully this spring, where I'm going to be trying out Slucifer, my little water sluice that I made out of corrugated pipe. So hopefully that cuts down a lot of the time of separating the black ash from everything else in there. But it can take quite a bit of time, and really there are some places, especially on eBay, they're willing to overpay for everything. Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, for me, it's a hobby, so I enjoy doing it. That's why I continue to do it, especially on the small scale that I do. But if you're looking to just make money and do it quickly, it's probably easier to sell them. But that's just my opinion. What has been the most dangerous thing that you have scrapped? Oh, wow. Dangerous thing I've ever scrapped. I don't know. I don't think I've ever really scrapped anything that was very dangerous. I try to stay away from anything that may have radioactive components or anything like that. I don't really do things with refrigerants anymore, because I don't have that friend who can drain them. I can describe my most dangerous scrap pickup, but not. I don't think I've ever really scrapped anything dangerous. I mean, I did find a grenade once, which my way back in my earlier videos, you can see it on my bench that I had when I lived out in Sanford. Someone had a box of scrap, and I went to go pick it up, and this grenade just rolled out, and I just started running. I mean, imagine me running. I turned around and looked at it, and I don't know, some kind of paperweight or practice grenade or something. It was not live, but that was pretty damn scary. Hey, Poosmate's in the house. Welcome. And Recycle Dude, nice to see you. And we got Bigga Biga. Maybe just scrapping. What's an IC chip? How to tell what it looks like? How to tell worth? How to know I'm getting fair price? Thanks for the info. Love your videos. Well, thanks for watching. IC chips. There's really all kinds of IC chips. So we've got. Well, this is I do a little bit of scrapping inside because it's winter time. So the most common IC chips are the ones that kind of look like this. They've got all the legs on one side. They come in all sizes, and they come in different shapes. So you have those. You have what some call flat packs or surface SMDs. They're like square ones. So IC chips can come like that. And then you have other IC chips. Let's see. So we've got BGAs. All right. And I've got another container here somewhere. Oh, there's a whole bunch of IC chips. They all pretty much kind of look like that. Not all of them contain gold, but for the epoxy ones, like these, the ones that the long ones that I just showed you, and the flat packs, etc. Those you're better off not trying to figure out which ones have gold and which ones don't. Just pull them all off. They all get processed the same, basically. All the epoxy ones. And yeah, sorry, what was the rest of that question? How to tell worth, how to know I'm getting a fair price. All right, well, as far as prices, I find there's a website called boardsort.com. There's a guy named Chris that works there. I've had really great experience with a guy. They have like pictures and descriptions of different things, and there's also the Gold Refining Forum. There's a lot of groups on Facebook as well. The one that I am a member of, I can never freaking remember the name of them really. So it's E-Waste and Precious Metal Refining. All right, so if you can see that, yeah, probably not. There we go. So that's their most recent post. Isn't that pretty? Anyways, so they have a lot of different pictorial descriptions, a lot of different links that can help you figure out what you have and what it's worth. But as far as like if you're going to sell them, that's something that really start off by separating them how they look, maybe what they come from. Like so you have like all the BGA chips. These you're going to keep these separate. All right, these are pretty good at gold value. The ones from RAM chips. So we've got IC chips that come off like RAM sticks. They're very tiny. They're small. They're thin, but they have a really good gold value. So if you're selling to like private people, like on any of these groups, they would prefer it if it was all separated. Because chances are they've processed a lot of stuff. They know how much gold comes from what. If you're going to ask me for yields, I'm sorry, I can't really tell you. All I can tell you is that like ceramic CPUs, that type of IC chip is probably going to have like the highest gold value. You're going to work yourself down to like the BGA chips, like RAM IC chips, and then down to the regular epoxy ones. There's probably a whole bunch in there. There's some in there that have anything. I mean, there's BGAs that have like a little copper circle on the top. Those really, some of them aren't worth hardly anything. And you've got the chips like this that instead of this big black piece, there's just like a little square like silica chip. Those are fairly worthless, but they look pretty much just like the BGAs. So that's pretty much what I can say for that. I work at a small college and have a chance to buy like 1,500 computers with monitors and towers. They want about $3 a piece of them. Are they worth it to scrap out? I mean, I've got a general rule of thumb that I like to stick to. I never pay for scrap, because once you start paying for it, you're really digging into your profit. But if they're only charging $3 a piece, you probably could make a good bit of money, especially if you're eBay savvy and you sell like the power supplies, sell any drives, sell the RAM. I mean, even the processors, even if they're like newer, like pinless CPUs, I saw a lot on eBay sell recently for like over $100. There's 24 of them. That, I mean, it's less than a pound, and most refiners would probably pay like $8 for that much of those specific types. But because it's eBay, they pay ridiculous amounts of money for things. So my gut instinct would be to say no, I wouldn't do it. But if you think that you can sell some of the stuff, yeah, I'd say $3 would be a pretty good price for them. I usually plug in a movie for the more daunting tasks, but I'm highly patient. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, especially in the winter, I like to, put something on the TV. I've got my setup over here. If I disconnect anything, so I've got a little table set up here in front of the TV, so I can rip stuff apart and watch TV, catch up on season 2 of Punisher or something. Whatever catches my interest at the time. All right. And Zelma Flash. Hey, Moose, no questions. Just getting here late. Not a problem. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Gil Skills, just wanted to show my support real quick. Hope you're doing great. Well, Gil, I might have to turn it into ugly mug mode. Hopefully you caught that. Oh, by the way, any of you guys watch the Gil Skills channel? His live streams are great. They're really positive. The guy's got just bubbling with enthusiasm. He's got these mugs on Teespring for his ugly mug mode. And then on the rear, he's got the Gil Skills logo. They're pretty cool. And they keep my bourbon nice and cold. All right. Oops. Wow. All right. Holy smokes, I've got some catching up to do. Do you know how Lan Matthews fits into that? I have no idea. All right. Hi, Scrapping Irish. Wow, so that camera that he was talking about was like a 35 millimeter kind of camera. Wow, I'd love to see like pictures or a video of that. If hopefully, I think in the video description, well, my email is MooseScrapper@gmail.com. It's pretty easy to remember. If you've got pictures, I'd like to see them. All right, Moose. Welcome, Status Enterprise. Ralph Mork's in the house. Kevin Kettleson. Ugh, time for work. Yeah, that's always a bummer. You have a great weekend yourself. And Shark Investments is in. Thank you, Shark Investments. Welcome to the group. Finally got me live. Yes. And this is one I really didn't like advertise too much. I mean, normally I try and get like at least a community message out, but yeah, it's been a crazy week. Crazy week. Had family member in the hospital earlier this week, so that was interesting. But one thing that I did learn is that so if you ever know someone that goes into the hospital and they have to do like an EEG or anything, those little 3M sticky pads that they put on you, keep those. They're silver in them. It's if you pull like gooey stuff back, there's like a stainless steel cap, and then it's a silver chloride. So something good came out of it, I guess, which is pretty bad because I'm sitting there in the emergency room, just hanging out, waiting, trying to be supportive, and like, okay, we need to take these off. You're like, well, hey, can I see one of those? Alrighty, we can behind the microwave, the radiation thingy in a microwave. Oh, yeah, isn't that beryllium or something in there? The magnetron. Yeah, you got to be careful about that. But I think that's really if you like break it or something. And the most dangerous thing that John ever Scrapper John, was his ex-wife. Yeah, I don't think I would ever dare to do that in my situation. It's like that might end my life. All right, the moose floating in the water is a great camp song. I've never heard of it. I'll have to look it up. Please, could you scrap something live? I've been thinking about that. And see, Bob Gill wants me to do more live streams. My problem with the live streams is, I don't know what to fill the time with. I mean, going through all these comments is great. That fills up the time. But I don't want anything to stagnate. So I don't want people to like get bored with it. So I thought about doing like live scrapping. The only problem is it would be really hard because right now I only have my desk, the little camera on my laptop here. So I'm trying to figure out how to get set up. I want to get a GoPro and get set up a little bit better so I can do other things. I don't necessarily need a microphone, but you know, it's an idea, and I would like to do that definitely in the future. Dirty Operations, welcome, Dirty Operations. How's it going? We got Joshua Cheney. Thank you for your response. Not a problem. Hope I was helpful. Sometimes I tend to ramble, so I don't really know if I am being. But all right, there's nothing like tossing a live grenade major rush. I've never done it. Although when I was a kid, one of the things that I got in trouble for with my parents, this was, of course, pre 9/11. I used to make small explosives out of like morning glories and like those little spent CO2 cartridges. And yeah, that was kind of fun. The best way to go fishing ever. I mean, you just drop it in the water, and 3 seconds later, the fish come floating up. I was young. I was like 13, 14 at the time. So hopefully those court records have been sealed. All right. From northern Minnesota, I feel you. Too cold to work outside. Yes. It wasn't bad like yesterday and today. It was weird because like 3 days ago, it was like single digits, and all of a sudden it jumped up to like 45, and we got like 2 inches of rain. And then it went back down to like double, like in the teens, and then it came back up today around in the 30s, and then it's supposed to dip back to, I mean, it's Maine. I mean, if you don't like the weather, you can wait 5 minutes. Yeah, like John Grinnell said, it was warm for 3 days, but it's going to go cool again. All right, there was a wrestler from Duluth. Wow, Bill, something. Last year I was scrapping out a new AC window unit that had the newer refrigerant. My angle grinder ignited the gas and sparks. Careful when opening anything with refrigerant. Yes, I've actually had several, call it a positive, call it a negative. Whenever you post a video on YouTube, you open yourself up to getting comments of all kinds, positive, negative. You're either the best person on the planet or the biggest ass out there. Sorry, I need to offend anyone with my language. So I had this one guy who was like, you really need to like warn people about all the different types of refrigerants out there. There's some that'll like eat through the sole of your shoe in like seconds. He was like really, kind of scaring me with the information that he was trying to get across with some of these refrigerants. I mean, I understand they're dangerous, which is why I never like just let them release them out to the environment. I don't do that anymore because I don't have that friend who used to be able to drain it. But yeah, scary stuff. So maybe that's it was a dangerous thing. It was still dangerous. All right. In Ireland, we don't have any company like Board Sort, so can't sell my chips. So just collecting them up to refine later. Yeah, you can do that. There's a lot of channels from people out in Ireland who do their own gold recovery. And IC chips, it's one of the easier ones to do. I mean, really, you technically don't need to even use any acids. I mean, yeah, you're not going to get pure gold when you're done, but you're still going to get, gold. So for people who are doing it just for that, yeah, why not? But I mean, even in Ireland, you still have eBay, and eBay, I'm telling you, it's sorry, too much talking. My mouth is getting dry. All right. Yields is typically 0.2%. All right. I'm not sure what that's referring to, but okay. I've never been one to really care about the numbers. Hi, MooseScrapper. Hi, Mickey. Nice channel. Everyone should check out Mickey's channel. Beautiful young woman down in Texas, I believe, who's got her own kind of well, she talks about a lot of things, really. So I was going to start off and say it's like a beauty channel, but it's more than that. So make sure you check it out. What's the average price for copper number 2 right now? The average price for copper number 2. Wow, I just lost it. All right, the average price for copper number 2. I'm not quite sure. I haven't been selling my copper or aluminum for a couple months now. I've been saving up all those metals for making ingots this spring. The forge is on the way. It's coming from Lithuania. But if you ever watched, there's a channel out there, Big Stack D. Make sure you check this channel out as well. This guy, he's from Australia. The videos are hilarious, as well as they are mesmerizing. I mean, that's pretty much all he does is he melts metal down, makes ingots. He does, like sand molds, all kinds of other funky things. It's really cool to watch, and I mean, him and E-Waste Ben making those copper ingots, that's really like, it's something that I've always been interested in doing, but watching those, like, okay, anyone can do this. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not cheap to get started, but copper ingots sell for big bucks on eBay. And yeah, it can be dangerous. The fumes from, smelting these metals can be toxic. But you cover your bases and it can be a lot of fun. All right. Hey Moose, how do you process crystal oscillators? Well, I haven't processed any yet. I'm in the process of saving them. I've never used, see, most of the crystal oscillators, they contain silver, which you need nitric acid to really process. And I've not used that to date. I've been spending a lot of time researching it. Anyone who's interested, CM Hoke's book on precious metal refining, read it, but read the one on the gold refining forum, not the one that's out there for the older one, because some of the safety guidelines have kind of changed a little bit. I mean, this book is like over 100 years old, and back then they're like, oh yeah, you can just dump your waste material down the sink. Oh yeah, no, you shouldn't do that. They're like, oh, and as long as you're doing this near an open window, you're fine. No. We know now that these fumes are much more toxic than they thought they were back then. So, get the updated version. It's free. It's on the gold refining forum. So read that, and that in and of itself should help you figure out how to process crystal oscillators. All right. Ben's Pets. What time is it? 7:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where did you get that little pry bar with the purple handle you used in your older videos? I've been asked that question so many times. It's funny. It's the most friggin' handy little that we like. It wasn't a Dollar Tree. It was another kind of things like up to $10, and it was part of this big screwdriver set that most of the other screwdrivers in there have been broken or lost the wind somehow over the years. But someone had given me that for Christmas, like, it had to have been at least 15, 16 years ago, because it was when I was working before I was working at the hospital. So it just came in this big assorted set. I mean, I've seen similar things online. Sears had a line of them, but they didn't have that little like divot in the middle, like a regular big pry bar that you'd get. But I mean, that's easy enough to fix with a round file. All right, Rachel, depends on the day. Hi Moose, just started scrapping this year. I found your YouTube videos and have helped me tons. Just want to say thank you for all your tips and help. No problem. Glad I can help out. Please keep in mind too that some of these videos were done a long time ago, like maybe 6 years ago or so. And like everyone else, I've continued to learn. So some of the information in the older ones may not be up to date, but the general gist is there. Have you ever scrapped a Roomba? I've got one. I'm just curious. It doesn't work. No, I've never scrapped a Roomba. I've just heard the horror stories of dog owners who have Roombas. But no, there's a lot of stuff out there that I haven't scrapped yet. And, I mean, I live in Maine. It's a hobby for me. It's not something that I do a whole lot of. So there's a lot of things that I haven't seen. I'd love to try and find more things to scrap, but I'm not going to go break my neck to go find these things. They'll come by eventually. All right. Big E says, what is some of the things we can expect to see from Moose in 2019? All right. Well, this year, unlike the past, at least 2 or 3 years, I am going to be continuing my consistency with videos. So there's going to be at least 2 a week. I am getting a forge. So I'm going to be making a bunch of ingots and things like that. So there's going to be a bunch of those videos. And this summer, with the help of Geo, who's another great YouTube channel, this guy has been doing precious metal recovery for a long freaking time. He's got a really great way of explaining things, wicked knowledgeable. And I couldn't ask for a better mentor or someone to be able to ask these questions from. So with his help, I will be experimenting with nitric acid and doing some of that type of gold recovery. So in 2019, you're going to see at least 100 videos. You're going to see making ingots from out of copper, aluminum, all brass. You're going to see more gold recovery with nitric acid. So that's what's up for 2019. All right, sadly, I'll be taking my leave now. Wow, 1:20 in the morning. Well, thank you for joining us, Ralph. At this point, I think I probably missed you already, but thank you for joining. And all right, Matthew's the English guy in the shed. Hi, Moose. Jeff Special's here. Hey, Jeff Special. Later, Ralph. Where the gold? Gold's everywhere. James Weist. I'm probably not going to get that last name right, but hi from McLean, Saskatchewan, Canada. Saskatchewan. Wow, that's way up there with the purple saxifrage and the musk oxen. Yeah, it's got to be really cold up there right about now. John Grindle, magnetron is not radiation. Yep, you're right. It's not radioactive in any way. But the inside of it usually there's like a little pink or purple thing on top of some little ceramic piece that might have beryllium, which is toxic. Let's see. Hey, Moose, folding laundry. Girl is special. Wow, so you're listening to me while you're folding laundry. That's, well. All right, in your dangerous scraps, you mentioned nothing radioactive. Local city yard guy tried to talk me into taking an x-ray machine. He could say, well, x-ray machine, see, stuff like that. I'd still consider scrapping. I mean, just out of the fun of it, the curiosity. I mean, anything radioactive should be labeled radioactive. And I'm not quite sure that an x-ray machine would actually have something radioactive in it, but it can create x-rays, which I don't know the science behind it, but I'd still be, to me, that sounds like it would be interesting to do. How about a show segment on what is it? You can talk about some items you've come across that are not the norm. From Yukon Cornelius. I love that Christmas special, by the way. I can totally relate with the Island of Misfit Toys. A segment on what is it? Yeah, I'm trying to think of what weird stuff that I come across. I mean, one of the things that is going to be scrapped this coming Friday is this. So here's a sneak preview from Scrapper John. All right, it's an oxygen generator. All right, now I know that some of you might be saying, "Oh my God, those things are expensive. Don't scrap it." They go, "Well, there's parts missing. It's used, and it's technically not mine to scrap, so it's getting scrapped on demand, basically." So this is pretty weird. But I really don't get a whole lot of strange stuff to scrap. It's mostly like typical stuff. From over the years, I've had a couple of things like those oscilloscopes that I had were kind of odd, especially for here, in southern Maine. Let's see. All right, so Bear Chef, do a group scrap, kind of like a ladies' quilt club, but with bourbon, tools, and cussing. That's basically what we had during that IC incineration video. I had a couple of folks here. Had the guy from Tommy Trailers, and I had Bob Gill here, and yeah, there was some cussing going on, especially every time I'd burn my friggin' fingers trying to get those IC chips in there. All right, I've encountered those as well. The liquid has gotten on my tools and rust them instantly. Some are quite corrosive. Yes. Originally the number one copper ore, 9, so I am now saving to make and sell as bullion. It's bringing really high premiums on eBay. Yep, it certainly is. Refrigerant is nothing to mess around with. It is not. You are absolutely correct, Pyro Al, 1995. And Tool 344 is in the house. Hey, Moose. Hey to you. In Indiana, it's $1.90 for copper number one. All right. Last time I sold copper number 2 was just over $2. Yeah, a lot of it depends on who you're selling to. Some yards get their buyers may be paying more than other buyers. I don't know how that all works, but I'm sure it's Jabo refining crystal oscillator watch 999 refining. Okay, so 999 refining. Yeah. So I'm just throwing this out there because that name sounds familiar. There's a few channels out there, and I'm not going to say their names. I don't watch them and I don't endorse them because their methods are very unsafe, very harmful to the environment. How would I say this? I don't want to come off as sounding like, you know, where they're just out in the middle of the day with using dozens and dozens of gallons of sulfuric acid, using the wet ash method for gold recovery from IC chips and other things. And they're not wearing respirators. They're out there in sandals. So I mean, they're really exposed, and it's so dangerous. I really try not to watch or promote watching those videos from those particular YouTube creators. All right, so Pyro Owl 1995. I think I'll keep hoarding my copper and brass. Yep, that's what I'm doing for now. Oh, wow! Holy smokes! All right, I think I'm catching up. Aluminum sucks. I'd rather pick up steel. Yeah, so aluminum. Yeah, it's such a light metal, and its value is, especially now, not that much more than steel. It's definitely one of those metals that if you get, I would hold on to because it's going to go back up. Once it gets over, like 50 cents a pound, that's when you start really wanting to get rid of it. Get it at Big Al's. What's up, Moose? Looking good, man. I think your new videos are great, but you're the man that has done it all, brother. Oh, I've not done it. I've done a lot. I mean, 262 videos now, 265 that I've by the end of February at least. Yeah, I've done quite a few videos, but some of them, are getting to the point where I might actually have to start repeating them or doing similar ones. Like I really love E-Waste Ben's whole idea of like a free copper bar from a microwave. Now, I don't want to go out and completely, do the same thing that he did. But some stuff similar to that, to me, that's just really cool. Haha, Roomba, yeah. Hey, MooseScrapper, those headphones. Those headphones, live, please, and thank you. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. MooseScrapper, those headphones, live, please, and thank you, sir. Okay. I'm not quite sure. Maybe you can clarify. Later, Moose, man. Have a good weekend, dude. See you later, Mimic81. Thanks for joining us. I've been, I think, hoarding for 8 years. Got a lot of stuff. My air chiseled offs boards. Hope to make some money someday. Well, I mean, the thing with precious metals, I mean, historically, the values always go up. Always. So, yeah, I mean, you can hold on to it. The value will never, go down, at least not permanently anyway. Where are you getting the forge and how much, if you don't mind me asking? Well, so the first thing that I did was look around. Of course, I looked at the different types, the propane versus electric, um, and I found the propane ones to be more efficient. Um, they, essentially burn cleaner, and they're faster. They can hold larger crucibles, and um, they're also a little bit less expensive. So, one of the people that I spoke to was the creator over at the Big Stack D channel, um, and he has several forges. I mean, you watch his videos; he's got all kinds, from ones that he's made himself to a whole bunch of different store bought ones. And the one that he recommended, and after researching a little bit, the one that I think, the one that I've ordered and that should be the best bet, I think, is the Devil Forge. It's they sell them on eBay and on Amazon and all over the place. So this one is $390. Um, so it was a big purchase, but with what I got from you know family and stuff like that, being able to get the money aside for it. So that's the one that I ordered. The tongs and the lifter, um, again, Big Stack D showed me where he got his, which they're basically homemade, from the King of Random, I think is the video, the channel. So he has a very easy tutorial on how to make them. So I'm going to make those. The molds, I'm going to be having. I have a friend who does some welding. He's going to make some ingot molds for me. So that I'm just going to get some U-channel steel with some 1" by 1/8 steel to block the ends. So they're going to be kind of slightly U-shaped and slightly um, angled on the ends, so they should pop right out of the molds. But I'm gonna have a set of 4 of those made. So the crucibles I ordered on eBay. They're about $20 each. They're the graphite silica combo, or the silica clay, um, and the crucible holds up to 4 kilograms. So that's plenty if I'm going to be doing just 1 pound ingots. I plan on doing them all the same size for now anyway. So that's where I'm at with that. So where am I getting it? eBay, Devil Forge. So there you go. How is the best way you've explained that what you do scrapping is a hobby when people say you've done isn't worth the time? Um, all right. Well, that's a good question, Puzmi. I get that comment a lot. I don't, on videos, how I'm wasting my time. It's not worth it. You're an idiot. Blah blah blah. I mean, it's something that everyone has a different value on their own time. I mean, my time is worth something different than someone else. I mean, if you're a doctor, yeah, your time is worth a lot more than, you know, a janitor. I mean, no offense to janitors. I'm just saying, if you're making more money somewhere else, you don't need to try and make up so much money somewhere else. So for someone like me, where, I have my daughter for 2 weeks and then she's with her mother for 2 weeks. So those 2 weeks, I've got basically all the time in the world after I'm done my regular, 8 to 4:30 job. So if I need extra money, it's easy for me to justify scrapping things, taking things apart for scrap metal. It's something that I can do in bits and pieces on my own schedule, and it's stress relieving for me. So that for me, it's worth my time because I look at it differently than just dollar signs. So I guess, how's the best way to explain what you do scrapping is a hobby when people say it isn't worth your time? Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, it's not worth their time. And if it's not worth your time, don't do it. I mean, don't even watch it. If it's not worth your time, I mean, then I'm not sure why you're even looking at it. But for a lot of people, it is worth their time. Some people make livings out of this, make careers out of this, and it's a completely individual thing. All right, so J-Bo is listening to me while he works at a gas station. Nice. Oh, and another thing, so I want to give a shout out to and I don't know his name. I feel like a dink for not knowing it. There's a guy who works at the Advanced Auto Parts here in Westbrook. All right, and I've seen him once before a few years ago. And as I was walking out, he's like, "Oh, I love your videos, by the way." I was like, "Okay." I mean, it still shocks me when I meet people in public who like recognize me through that, through the whole YouTube thing. Um, so I was kind of like thrown off guard and like, "Oh, thanks," and just walked out. Um, but I just want to say sorry about that, and I do thank you for watching. And next time I'll get your name so I can address you properly. uh, all right. Oh, Stealing Vids apparently has been getting a bunch of stuff blocked. This is hot. I'll be uploading more videos as well. Anyone who wants to check out my channel, feel free to. As always, thanks, Moose. No problem, Biggie. Thank you for stopping. Thank you for watching. Dumb trolls. There's always one in every stream. Yeah, they're all over the place. I mean, you can't escape them at this point in the game. I mean, every once in a great while, a troll will really get under my skin and really bother me. But for the most part, I mean, I okay, this is not a brand in any way, right? But over 50,000 subscribers, over 260 videos, over 12 million views. I've had a lot, a lot of nasty comments over the years. So I mean, you kind of get used to it. All right, John Gwinto says, group scrap a bunch of stuff on the bench and the big hammer. Yep. Got you back. Gil, I thought you were going to a movie or something. Why are you still here? Good job, Gil. 3 cheers for Gills. Yep, thank you. There's no need for that. All right, so Creighton Workman. So all these scrap items needs individual treatments to refine. Could you do a video sometime on things that can be done together, if there are any? Just an idea. Love your vids. Okay, so here's the thing, and I want to thank Gio again for reminding me of this. He reminded that whole Facebook group. There's most of this stuff, and I'm treading lightly here. Most of the gold recovery stuff can actually be processed together. All right. The problem is, if you're new to it, there's going to be a lot of extra steps that can be confusing, and it's much more. It can be much more difficult. All right. So, like, I believe at one point he was, and I could be mistaken, but I believe he was like cell phone boards. At one point, just throwing, or in RAM sticks and stuff, just throwing that all in one 55-gallon barrel of AP, and just letting it all simmer down until it was all dissolved, and then going from there, pulling out the metals one by one, which theoretically I guess is possible, but it's more difficult. But as far as scrapping things together, one of the big things was when people were trying to recover gold from plated pins, one of the big things was, make sure you separate the magnetics from the non-magnetics. Well, you don't need to. It's helpful, it's easier, but you don't need to do that. And if you don't, I mean, I'm not even familiar with the process completely to do that, so I wouldn't feel comfortable trying to show anyone else how to do it. What is the price of aluminum cans? Well, Pyro Owl, they are 5 cents a piece. That's all I care about. I did a video not that long ago about how many cans it takes to make a pound. So if you live in or near a state that has a bottle redemption or bottle deposit, yeah, definitely a lot more money that way. Yeah, aluminum is 86 cents on the stock market. That doesn't mean that scrapyards are paying that, because they have to make a profit too. The person they're selling it to has to make a profit. Then they have to transport it. So there's all kinds of costs per pound in there. So you're not going to get anywhere near 86 cents. I gotta go. Happy scrapping. All right, thanks for stopping by, Shark. Basic aluminum, usually cans run higher than sheet aluminum. Um, yeah, I'm not quite sure. I've heard different things, and again, a lot of it depends on your scrapyard and how educated the people who work at your scrapyard are. Um, I've had some people tell me that basic aluminum cans are actually lower in value because of the ink and residue inside that adds weight to an already light metal. Um, all right. Well, that's crazy. $2 a pound. Oh, wow. I hate it when it jumps like that. All right, so I'm going to try and zip through some of these so we can hopefully catch up. All right, so Bear Chef said he made a King of Random Forge and it works great. Yeah, I wanted to try making one of those, but I just never got around to it. Yep, they were $2.75 September. I'm not sure if that was. I think that might be copper price. Not sure what cans are going for here in Kentucky. Hello from Texas. Welcome, Virgil Rule. I build my own forges, something I learned from years of working in the oil field. They are quite simple and cheap to build. Yeah, they are. There's just up until a couple of years ago, I said there was only two things that I don't mess with: electricity and gas. I've been slowly learning how to do some electrical work, but gas, that whole assembly that goes into the forge, putting that together makes me nervous. So that's what prevented me from making my own. All right, I've not been scrapping for a year. I'm way out of the loop on prices. Yeah, it takes a while to get used to things, especially, if you're not a big time scrapper. Sometimes you only go to the scrapyard, once a month, once every 3 months. Sometimes you go every week, every day. I mean, it depends on, kind of scrap work you're doing. Is Bob Willis still the king? Who's Bob Willis? All right. What about departing gold pins? Departing gold pins. I'm not quite sure what that is. I made $3 grand last year, and the therapy right, Dana. All right. Would you believe I actually buy my computers at $5 each, and after fully processing, do quite well. In fact, even opened a company around it. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, for someone who knows what they're doing, you can certainly make money off of it, even buying them. I mean, I'm not at a point where I can do that yet, but some people are. Sorry, that's my ex-wife. All right, I scrap internet trolls for fun. Ooh, that must get messy. Simple, and the business benefits and deductions are lovely. I can imagine. Pretty much everything's a deduction, right? All right. Let's see. Jet and I would like to see you build that forge. I mean, I wouldn't be against having two forges. I mean, certainly, with that one that I purchased, I'll have that gas assembly, that part that shoots the propane and the flame into the forge, so I could just transfer it over to the other one. So the one that I ordered just has ceramic cloth or ceramic wool on the inside, so it's very light, easy to move. I've got back issues, so that's one of the nice things that I liked about it. But yeah, I mean, if you guys are up for making a video showing me how, I'll do it. If I get a troll on my videos, it's like water off a duck's back. I don't scrap much since work has picked back up. It got me through when I was out of work for 10 months. Yep. I mean, and sometimes that's it. Sometimes it's just a temporary thing to help you through, a little extra, for the holidays, special event. Maybe there's a toy that you want that you can't afford on your budget, and that's what you use scrapping for. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons to do it. And Chris Saucier, hey there, Mr. Moose. So I work in the automotive shop, or in an automotive shop. I've taken to collecting the O2 sensors. I am thinking of trying to recover the platinum. Any advice? Whoo-hoo. Um, yeah. I would talk to either Geo or Sri Tips, because platinum again requires nitric acid, which I have not worked with yet. But there are car parts that have platinum in it. There's the O2 sensors. You've got palladium and other platinum group metals in the catalytic converter, in the airbag switch or something. What else was there? Some spark plugs have them. So it's all over in cars. Maybe that's why they're so friggin' expensive these days. All right, not your average Jojo. Hey, welcome. Nice to see you. Have a Canadian in the house. They say they value cans more because they're 5% magnesium. Oh, okay, that could be. I'm not quite sure. All right, so Kyle Porterfield, deplating gold pins. So another thing that I wanted to try, and hopefully I'll get to it this year, was an electrolytic cell, a reverse electroplating cell, for deplating gold pins. I've already got all the parts to it. I don't have the sulfuric acid yet, but that's a method for deplating a lot of gold items. That's fairly quick and fairly simple. And I mean, as far as gold pins, I did a little bit of experimentation with it a few years ago with AP. It worked okay. The problem is, there's literally, I mean, you need like a crazy amount of gold-plated pins to get a gram of gold. I mean, it's pounds of them. And 1 gallon of HCl can absorb up to 2 pounds of base metal. All right, so you're needing a few gallons to get 1 gram of gold. So it just wasn't worth it for me at the time, especially with the pins that I was using. I mean, I've never had or don't have access to like mil-spec pins or anything that's really high quality gold plated. But that's that. All right, deplating gold pins, 30 cents for aluminum in Eastern PA. Bob Willis is still the king. Waylon Jennings from Texas usually know who he is. He is big time band leader back in the 50s. Oh, there we go. Well, I know who Waylon Jennings is. Well, I got to go get the kids down. Thanks for the time. Thanks for watching, Bear Chef. Thanks. Have to go enjoy. Well, they're all dropping like flies. That's all right. Wife and kids are home. Got to go. All right. See you as well. Thank you for stopping by. Hey, Moose, is it smarter to just burn all chips or just do chemicals? If you're talking about IC chips, if you're burning them properly, it's much cleaner. It's the term I believe is called pyrolysis or pyrolysis, where you're getting them hot enough and there's enough flame so that all the volatile organic compounds that are coming off of them are burning before they're released. So if you do it right, you shouldn't smell hardly anything. If you're not doing it right, it should really stink. That's a lot cleaner because there's no, you're not dealing with acids at the moment. You're not, I mean, the only other acid method with that would be the wet ash method using sulfuric acid, which, I mean, you've got to heat that stuff up. And when you vaporize sulfuric acid, I mean, you can blister the entire lining of your lungs just like that. And, that's it. So I'd definitely go with the pyrolysis. Any items that contain a good amount of magnesium? I use magnesium for pyrotechnics. I don't know. I know that there are some things, like a lot of like lamp bases, the inside of the newer doorknobs, they have this gray metal that's not, I don't think it's aluminum. It's either zinc or magnesium. So that might be a place for you to look. I'm not quite sure how much of it you use, but what would I get the most copper out of, I think? So Livermore family, the most copper. Well, that's tough. I mean, as far as what? You get the most copper out of like plumbing and stuff like that. You can get a lot of copper out of a microwave. I've seen people pull a whole pound out of one microwave. TVs are a good source of copper. The old tube style TV, but then you're stuck with the glass tube that you have to get rid of. Um, so as far as good sources of copper, um, yeah. I mean, if you troll Craigslist, it's pretty easy to find, especially in the free section, people who are getting rid of like old sinks or plumbing, or they have old boilers or stuff like that. You can find a lot of free copper there. Um, so, all right. Status Enterprise. Have you opened a company around your work, Moose? You basically already have tools. Having a business also gets you discounts and better services at all sorts of places like U-Haul, major tool stores. I tried a few years ago. I tried starting a business. It didn't do too well, and I was going through a divorce at the time, so it just a lot of life factors kind of like made it not work out. I got business cards. I made a website. It was eCycle Maine. So I mean, there was. I still get calls from people who initially used the service. They're your return customers, but it's not something that's really. It never really took off. Um, so I don't know. Maybe once I've got a few more big projects around the house that I want to focus on, like the summer, and maybe once that's done, I can focus more time on trying to start up or get more of the e-waste recycling going. And when purchasing chemicals may be necessary. Yeah, discounts for. Yep, I can see that. Thank you, sir. I will study nitric acid recovery. All right, be safe. Just remember that is nitric acid. I mean, no pun intended, is the gold standard acid for gold recovery and refining, but it's also wicked dangerous. So be very, very careful. I mean, it's doable. There are tons and tons of people who do it. They do it safely, but just make sure you do that homework. That's the biggest thing right there. A lot of wheelchairs. Oh, bikes. A lot of bicycles have magnesium in them as well. Do you like Legos, and are you excited for the Lego Movie 2? No, actually, I'm not. I'm not a Lego guy, and I haven't really checked out the Lego Movie. It looks interesting. I think I've seen one Lego movie that was kind of funny, but yeah, not high up in my priority list at the moment. Would be easy to tell the difference. Magnesium is very light compared to aluminum, especially zinc. Zinc is heavy, yes, which is why I think I remember seeing something at bicycle frames. Magnesium was being used because of that, because it was so light. But they use all kinds of different metals for that. All right, so Burn Row says he bought an induction heater. They're the easiest way to melt metal, but all directions are in Chinese and can't figure out how it works. That's what Google translates for. Right. And, yeah. I mean, I've only seen videos on these things working. I mean, they look really cool. I mean, they place like a little graphite crucible in the middle of the coil and, fill it up with gold powder. And 3 seconds later, it's a little like button. Yeah. Ken Jet says tearing down old houses and buildings and recovering the electrical is best way to get best copper. That's right. That's right. I mean, I don't know how many people can get into that, but yeah, that is a good source of copper. I've got so my neighbor, her brother, he's got this clean out business, and we just kind of connected a few weeks ago, where he's been like getting stuck with all kinds of like electronics and crap that the scrap yards around here don't really pay him a whole lot for, and he was looking to try and make more money off them. And he had this like tote that was like just filled with CPUs out of all the computers he's scrapped over the years. He had like this massive, I think it was like a 35-gallon tote that had a bunch of like PCI cards from computers and stuff like that he would normally bring to the scrapyard, and really, I mean, probably less than $1 a pound. So he was really getting screwed. So I mean, hopefully, I'm trying to work something out with him where we can I can help him make some more money, use the stuff to make videos and, process some gold in the meantime. All right. Back hurts from folding laundry, so I'm going to play Fortnite. Don't judge me. Take care, Moose. See you later, Dennis. Thanks for joining us. Oh my God, E-Waste Ben's in the house. Just dropping, catching up with some channels. Keep scrapping and have fun. Thanks, friend. I love your videos. And by the way, I totally get what you're saying with that that package you got in the mail. That's always kind of weird. But you handled it like a champ, so good on you. Thanks for stopping in. It's got to be like tomorrow afternoon or something over there. All you guys, anyone in this, I mean, there's only 26 of you in here now, but if you haven't already, you have to check out E-Waste Ben. Great channel. I mean, this guy, he scraps, full time. He comes across all kinds of great stuff, and it's one of the things that I like best about his videos. Just one of the things. I mean, there's so much to like about his videos. Is that when you're watching him, you're actually not only are you seeing what's inside, how to take things apart, but you're getting an understanding of how long it takes to take some of these things apart, which is what a lot of people really don't grasp. And a lot of people, they get excited about scrapping, and then they start getting into it, like, wow, this is taking a long time. It's not really worth my time. And then, but if they were to watch these videos first, you'd be like, okay, so if I'm going to be, doing this, I need to make sure that I have X amount of hours to be able to do this. Hey, Moose, you can call me Pooh. I don't mind. All right, Pooh. Shout out to E-Waste Ben as well. Yep. Yeah, he the end of the last year we had this or Gill Skills did this thing where he told me to get over 50,000 subs, and at the time E-Waste Ben was, I think, maybe 400 subs or 500 subs behind me, and now he's like 1,000 ahead of me. So he's got a great channel there. So make sure you check that out. All right. Well, so the chat slowed down quite a bit. I think I'm caught up. Yeah, I'm on live chat, not top chat. So I think we're good. So I did say that this was going to be a fairly short live stream tonight because I don't have my right-hand man, unless Gil is still out there listening. Of course, he's supposed to be somewhere else. But yeah, so I mean, again, I just want to say, thanks to all you folks for coming out here and for watching. This coming year, I've got hopefully some good stuff coming out, stuff that I'm excited about. Again, making those ingots. I know that E-Waste Ben is waiting for it to not be 150 degrees down there in Australia, because it's summer for them. Well, it's freezing cold for us over here. Ken just says, yeah, E-Waste Ben is the second best scrapper I've ever subbed to besides MooseScrapper. Been almost 2 years. Oh, yeah. I don't think he's second fiddle to anyone. He's past. I mean, God, yeah, he's doing much better than all of us. Of course, it might just be the accent. That's always just that alone is awesome to listen to. All right. I'll tell you what part of scrapping really stinks. Removing copper from AC radiators. The aluminum fins get everywhere, and you cut the copper tubing out. Messy process. It is. It certainly is. Yep. I have a video on that, and just because I have a video on it does not mean that I actually do it. It's just how one would do it. It's, yeah, when I get those, which I don't really get often now. I mean, I think the only ones that I get now are from cars. Or unless I get like an air conditioner that fell out of someone's window and was already popped. Yeah, I don't bother removing the copper out of them. I just, trim the ends off, take those steel plates off the ends so that I get, the best price for them. But that's it. Too messy. All right. Status Enterprise really helped me separating boards and telling the difference between high grade and such. Yep. And, that's another thing, separating boards and classifying boards. If you watch E-Waste Ben's videos and you watch mine, it's very different depending on what country you're in. I mean, apparently, like in Australia, peripheral boards is not even a thing. So I don't know if that makes us Americans weird, but it's really, it just goes to show how important it is that that you contact your scrapyard to see what they take and how they take it and what they pay. Because one of the videos that I am going to be putting out, so far the title is "Scrapping Smarter, Not Harder." It's basically going over, like a circuit board. All right, so like this right now, yeah, it's got there's a few ICs on it. All right, you've got some monolithic, you've got some gold plating stuff on there, some gold plated pins. There's a tantalum on there. So, but this would be considered probably a low grade board because there's not much on it. So you have to ask yourself, and I'm giving away some of the content here, but you have to ask yourself, you go to a scrapyard, my scrapyard will pay me like 8 cents a pound for this. All right. But they'll pay me 14 cents a pound for transformers. So it makes more sense for me to take the transformer off. Now, if your scrapyard pays more for like a low grade board than it does for transformers, then by all means leave the transformer on. All right, that's like motherboards. It used to be the first thing that I do when I get a motherboard was pull that aluminum heatsink off and throw it in the aluminum pile. Well, no, because some places will buy motherboards, like my scrapyard will buy motherboards at like $1.50 a pound, and aluminum is what, 20 some odd cents a pound. So leave it on the motherboard. It adds to that weight, so you end up making more money. Oh wow, I got. Ooh, that was a lot of chat there. Chatty people. Really? Okay. Your def cut up. Oh, no, I'm behind now. I got a pound of gold ore from a friend. I crushed it up, and there is a lot of other heavies mixed in with the gold. Would smelting mix all the metals into the gold? All right, so, oops, there we go. So what I'm going to tell you, Chris, is to reach out to MBL, Mountain Baker, MBM LLC, Mountain Baker Mining and Metals LLC. I'll put their link in the videos. So these guys, all they do is they make machines that process gold ore, and he'd be the best one. He's done all kinds of work with this stuff, and he'd be able to tell you the best way to separate that stuff out. I know that a lot of the heavies that are in there, there was actually a video that he did recently on, what was it, the sulfides, the gold sulfides, how if you roast them for a while, you turn them from sulfides to oxides or something like that, and then you can easily separate the rest of the gold from the rest of the heavies in there. There's other methods and stuff like that. He'd be a great place for you to check out. I'll actually see if I can pull that up. And I might crash everything right now because, all right, so it's MBMMLLC. MBMMLLC. So Mary Boy, Mary LLC. That's the YouTube channel. And they've got a lot of great stuff there that if you work with ore, yeah, they'll be able to help you out. Let's see. Pooh wants to know, did you set up a P.O. box address for people to send stuff to you yet? I have not. I thought about it, but I haven't really had that many people who really offered to send anything, so I didn't think it'd be necessary. Scrapbox in the house. There's we got a youngster here. Well, he's not so young anymore, but great scrapper. Another great channel. Check that one out. Yeah, so Pooh, I haven't. I don't know if that'd be anything that anyone would want to really participate in. So Amber Kennedy, you are awesome. My husband and I have learned so much about our trade from you. We've stopped throwing money away, buy everything apart instead of getting paid shred. Hey, I'm glad I could help. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, and I run into that often. At the scrapyard, I'll see people with box trucks going in there and just dumping load after load of like washers and dryers and stuff like that, with everything still, power cords still attached. I'm like, I mean, it takes 1 second to clip that power cord, and the amount of stuff that they keep hauling there. In a couple of days, they could be making themselves, extra, 20, $30 easy, just from that 1 extra second per unit. So yeah, I mean, taking things apart, you can definitely boost your income. All right. So, Status Enterprise. He looks forward to the videos in 2019, doing the same thing myself this year. Good. I'll be sure to check out your videos. Moose, you're just more entertaining and better looking. Wow. All right. I'm not sure what exactly you're referring to there, Ken. Okay. Thanks. They can pack a ton of copper, though. On average, I removed around 10 pounds of copper from radiators. Yeah, they can. But, again, it's a whole, what's your time worth? And my time is not worth a box of Band-Aids, because I think the last time I tried shredding one of those, I shredded my knuckles up. But, there again. Yeah. And I was wearing gloves. They're cheap Harbor Freight gloves, but, All right. Especially older units carry more copper. Yeah. E-Waste Ben, good luck with your new board sort business. Yes, I saw that. So E-Waste Ben is, so if any of you guys are, I know I've got a few folks from Australia who watch. So if you live in Australia and you have circuit boards to sell, make sure you look up Board Sort Australia. This guy knows what he's doing. He makes videos on the stuff. You can tell that he's a very fair, very honest guy. He treats customers right. So check him out. And I know I said that I've said this a couple of times, that I would never promote another business. I know, but this guy, I think, is different. All right, melt aluminum fins off with a torch. All right. And Scrap Hawk, I have a question. What grade are the boards that have the gold-plated board in the computer monitors? Oh, those little buggers. Yeah, I hate those boards. I really hate those boards. Those are low grade. And I'm not just saying that because I hate them. I'm saying that because they are. There's practically nothing on them. You could have a board like that be completely flash plated with gold, and it'd still be considered a low grade board. The reason for that is because that plating is so incredibly thin. It's hardly worth anything. The board itself weighs almost nothing. There's no copper etching underneath it, hardly. Well, there's some, but not a whole lot. So those boards are really considered low grade. I mean, usually I just pick off, there's like one IC and maybe a few monolithic ceramic capacitors. I pick those off, and I just throw the rest of the board in my AP bucket that I have. And I use it to, I've got a bucket of like spent AP that I use to eat the legs off of IC chips before I process them. So I'll just throw them in there. I'll break them in 2 or 3 so they don't take up too much space. All right, let's see. Mr. Magoo says, "Hi Moose, I once tore a water cooler apart. It had a lot of copper. It had a copper tank wrapped with copper tubing, but was soldered together." Yep. I mean, it's one of those things that has refrigerants. It cools things down. So you are going to have that compressor that has the copper in there. You're going to have, sometimes there's a lot of tubing, and sometimes in those things they just leave it all copper. Sometimes they change it out to other metals. But yeah, definitely a good source of copper. But again, you have to worry about, the clean and ethical disposal of the refrigerants in there. All right. My scrapyard pays 37 cents low grade, around 120 for mid grade. Wow, for your boards, it's way better than my scrapyard. Yeah. I decided which to fully scrap, partially scrap, so the electronics recycler. And the more experience you have with gold recovery and recycling these boards, the more you're going to know, like, okay, if I take this off, it's no longer a mid-grade board, it's a low-grade board, but I'll be making more money in the long run, which doesn't really happen too often, but it can. And you're out in Florida. Cool. Are the flat screen TVs worth scrapping? Eh, I mean, again, I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, Roger Gonzalez 362. Um, if you're stuck with one, it's worth it to scrap it. Um, especially, yeah, if you're doing like street scrapping, like E-Waste Ben does. If you're driving out, cruising around picking up scrap, and if you see a flat screen TV and you see a pile of steel pipe, take the steel pipe. Um, there's really not a whole lot in flat screen TVs. There's a few boards, a little bit of wire. Sometimes the older ones, the casing might have, steel or aluminum. The modern ones are pretty much all plastic. So there's really not a whole lot in them. So I wouldn't go out and seek them. But if you're stuck with one, yeah, they're easy to scrap. And like where I live, if I have a TV, it doesn't matter if it's a flat screen TV or glass tube TV, to recycle it at the local recycling center, it costs the same. But if you take a flat screen TV apart, you're no longer stuck with a TV. You're stuck with plastics and stuff that you're selling to the scrapyard. So it's a way to get around having to pay fees, I guess, at recycling centers. Where I live, nobody pays for e-waste at all. No scrapyard around here. Oh, that's horrible. Well, I mean, there's a lot of places in Maine that scrapyards are pretty far away from. I mean, where I grew up in Fort Kent, there are no scrapyards up there. There are people who still do it, but they save up until they literally have an entire like tractor trailer load full, and then either hire someone to bring it down southern Maine for to a scrapyard. But let's see. But I mean, even if there's no one out there that buys e-waste at all, as long as you have access to eBay and the post office, you can still make money off of it. All right. So Jane Kidzink says, hi from Northwest PA. A lot of folks from Pennsylvania. Nice. Population Parallax. Howdy, Moose. Hope all is well. It is. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Amen. Those things will eat your hands up. Yes, the radiators, they certainly will. Yep. Good evening, everyone. Cruiser Mac is in the house. Moose, thanks for hosting this chat. I appreciate it. Anytime. Thank you for the leads. I'll do my homework and figure out what to do. Have a good one. All right. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. E-Waste Ben is a super nice guy. Helped me out on more than one occasion. I don't doubt it. He is. I mean, some people you can just tell by listening to him. He's a very humble guy, very modest guy. He's a good guy. Some people you can just tell. Let's see. You got me into gold recovery and deplating silverware. It's an occasional hobby, and I enjoy it greatly. Thanks so much. You're welcome, Phil. That's something that, yeah, I'm in the process of rebuilding my my silver stock because I lost just about all at one point. Yeah, it's definitely a fun little way to get some silver back, especially if in the summer when yard sales are like wrapping up and people put their crap at the end of the yard, free signs. It's fun to go digging through, and most people are like, silver plated, it's junk, get rid of it. Well, the base metal is in itself is either brass or nickel silver or sometimes copper, other metals besides steel usually. So they're still worth some money there. I break everything down, even the tiny transformers, to collect the copper and separate the iron. Timely process, but all I have is time. Well, Ken, you know what? This winter, I've been doing a lot of that myself. So you can see all that copper in there. This is copper that I've been pulling off of, all kinds of anything that comes apart fairly easy, I should say. I mean, like a transformer like this one, I probably won't take apart. But yeah, I'm certainly building up my copper stores for when I get that forge, or I should say when it arrives. And actually, I'll probably have to wait till spring because it's too freaking cold to use it now. But yep. Cruiser back at Ken Jet. May as well make the most of your time. Yep. Well, I mean, it's winter time. Most evenings, once all my chores and stuff like that are done around the house, you sit in front of the TV and why not do something with your hands while you're sitting there watching TV or listening to music or something? You keep yourself busy, keep your mind occupied, helps distress. I mean, it's a fun little thing. All right. Jane Kinsing, you helped get 2 grandparents extra cash to travel to Florida to see our treasured grandbabies. Thanks, Moose. Hey, no problem. No problem. I'm glad any of this stuff was helpful. I mean, that's that's pretty much why I started doing it. I mean, I was trying to find information on certain things and how to take certain things apart, what was in it, and had to watch 3 or 4 different videos to get what I wanted. So I said, well, why not put it all into one video? And that's where that happened. Or that's how that all got conceived, I guess. Just the Tip Gaming. Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. Flat screens are easy to repair, though. Yeah, so I get that a lot, Jabo. A lot of people, say, well, you should repair it. You should fix it. I've even got this one guy. Oh lordy, I'm kicking myself for not remembering his name. Oh, lost it. Yeah. So there's this one guy who reached out to me recently. He used to own a an appliance repair business, and that video of me going to the scrapyard, that disappointing trip where I got like $40 for 1,000 pounds of steel. He was like, yeah, I saw that, and I was like, you could really make a lot more money. A lot of these machines are so easy to repair, and he wanted to try and team up to make videos on how to fix these things instead of scrapping them to make more money. Because I mean, if you watch my channel intro video, it's basically that's what this whole channel is about, to try and help you make a little bit more money and help the environment. All right. So I spent days thinking on how that could be possible, but he lives so far away, and I mean, the time, the space, I just wouldn't have the space for multiple appliances. And winters here can be pretty harsh and weird. It's pouring rain one day, then freezing the next, and if you leave any appliances outdoors and they're probably not going to last too long. So I get what you're saying though, Jabo, but yeah, I mean, for those who can do it, awesome. But as far as flat screens, I mean, you'd have to, I would think, have to learn a decent bit about electronics to be able to first diagnose what the problem is, and then repair them. Kenjet. Yeah, being disabled time can be boring, so ripping stuff apart keeps me busy. Besides, it allows me a few extra dollars in the end. Yep, that's right. I mean, again, that's your reason. That's how you place the value on scrapping. So nothing wrong with that. How long have you been doing electronic scrapping? Oh, I jumped. How long have you been doing electronic scrapping and gold recovery itself? Not basic metal scrapping, but boards and precious metals. Well, Status Enterprise, electronic scrapping is how I got started in everything. It started off with, I had a computer that died that I needed to get rid of. I was living in a town called Sanford, and the only way to get rid of it was to bring it to the town dump. All right. And they considered it a toxic waste, and they charged $10 per unit. Now, at the time, I didn't have a lot of money. 2 kids. My wife at the time had decided to stop working, so we were down on one income. And I mean, it was just a tough time. So we didn't have the space for it because we were renting an apartment, and I didn't have really the money to just throw $10 to dispose of it. So I started looking up some stuff online. It was what can you do with an old computer, and this was 2012, and this was literally, I mean, 6 or 7 years ago, this is when I first actually learned about scrap yards. That was an actual thing. You could actually take metal, bring it to this place, no matter what kind of metal it was, and actually get paid for it. That was the first time that I even ever heard of that. So mind blown, just right there. So the first thing that got me started in this was that computer. I learned that hey, there's actual um, precious metals in there. And once I heard gold, and I started opening it up, and a lot of this gold is, you pull the CPU out automatically, or instantly you start seeing gold. I mean, it's gold plate, but whatever, it's gold. You pull the RAM chips out, oh, there's more gold, and then you just. So I got interested in it. I started looking at videos on YouTube, and I found Jack Scrapper, Mike the Scrapper, and a bunch of other guys out there. And when all was said and done, I was like, okay, so I just pulled this computer apart. Now I want to take more apart. So I started putting ads on freecycle.com, on Craigslist, talking to people at work, people that I knew. I mean, my landlord at the time, he worked in IT, so he was able to find some stuff for me. And it just grew from there. And it just started, whatever I would see on the free section of Craigslist or whatever, someone throwing out anything, I'd go grab it just to tear it apart and see what was inside it and make money off the metal. So that's basically how that started. The gold recovery part, though, didn't start for another, I'd say, a good year and a half, maybe, until after that, until I had enough stuff to try and recover it. And I mean, I was really chicken when it came to first starting to use muriatic acid, or HCl. That was my first thing that I ever did was the gold fingers. And then I tried using that method on a few other things, like print the plastic ribbons off ink cartridges that have those little gold dots on it. Didn't go so well, but it worked a little bit. All right, we need a scrappers convention. that would be interesting. ScrapCon 2019. Hey Moose, how much did your forge cost you? $390. Let's see. Do you pull silver from breakers? Is it worth it? As far as the time involved, when I do get breakers, yep, I do pull the silver off of them. And as far as the time involved, it's one of those things that I wait till I have like a bucket full of them, and then I just cover them up in some heavy old moving blankets that I have and smash the hell out of them with a sledgehammer. So it doesn't take a whole lot of time doing it that way. So yeah, and I don't really come across breakers that often to begin with, but when I do, I save them up and then do them all at once, and it's not that bad. AU Pack Mules in the house. Hey, welcome. All right. ScrapCon, scrap. Yeah. That would be interesting. Just the Tip Gaming. Me and my brother have been saving old electronics for about 5 years, and this year we're going to start taking it all apart. Whole basement is filled to the ceiling. Uh-oh. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you're going to do that once, and then you're going to be like, yeah, we should probably break the stuff apart and break it down as soon as we get it, and not let it build up. Is silver ever going to bounce back? Also, why did palladium spike? Well, my brother would be the guy to talk to about that. He's the one who's into the markets. Is silver ever going to bounce back? Most definitely. I mean, precious metals historically always go up. It may take years, but they always eventually go up. And I just turned 42, so the metals the precious metals that I'm collecting, I'm looking at it as both like an emergency fund and like a retirement. So because I know that all these metals, they're going to be worth more by the time I'm 65. So I mean, you look at the price of gold 20 years ago when it was like $300-400 an ounce, and now it's it's 3 to 4 times as much as it was back then. So in another 20 years, theoretically, it should be a whole lot more. Old chips from the 80s, have a jar of them. Yep. Now, the older stuff is usually the better stuff, usually. Watching your live feed while it snows here in Montana, depopulating boards. Thanks for all your hints. All right, Les. Yeah, I'm glad it's not snowing here tonight. We're supposed to get some more next week, but yeah, we had a foot last weekend, and then we got 2 inches of rain yesterday. So go figure. I break up oxys with a sledge and snort them. Okay. All right. Have I ever tried gold panning? No. Well, not real gold panning. It's definitely on my bucket list. I have so the guy from Mountain Baker Mining and Metals. At one point, he'd actually sent me a little jar, a little vial, with a few gold flakes in it, and some sand, so I could practice gold panning. That was fun as hell. And I've got a subscriber who lives here in Maine who's offered to take me gold panning this coming summer, and if I do, I'll be sure to get some video. That's for sure. But yeah, it's something that I've always wanted to do. I've got another friend, D. Lundbeck, or D. the Deplorable Morand. You might see him on some of the comment sections. He's out in Alaska, so if I ever make it out there, there's besides hanging out with him and having a nice cold beer, near the fire in a cabin, the only other two things that I want to do are catch a nice big old salmon and go panning for some gold. So yeah. Do what I do, scrap and buy the grams of gold. I 65 gram. Right. So this is actually, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that. So the few folks that are here watching this, you're getting some sneak previews on some videos coming up. So I've got another video coming out that's, in my mind, kind of a comedy bit. It's basically how to get 2 grams of gold out of 10 ram sticks. So anyone who does any kind of gold recovery, they're going to see that title and be like, wow, this guy is so full of it, it doesn't begin to make sense. 10 ram sticks? No way is he even getting a tenth of a gram out of those. But the thing is what I'm doing is I'm selling the ram sticks. So these two are worth $40, all right, which is about a gram. All right, and I've got some other 1 gigabyte sticks that I pulled out of machines, so I'm going to be selling those on eBay, and that's basically what the video is going to be about: selling on eBay. Gold recovery, or obtaining gold from electronics without using acid. You take stuff that's worth money that you have no use for, you sell it on eBay, and then the money you get from that, use it to buy the gold, and you're done. Quick, easy, no tools involved. Let's see. Kenjet, wish he was closer. Would love to. Well, where are you at, Kenjet? You're not the one that's in Montana, are you? No. Well, that's less. Mr. Magoo, how would you go about selling ingots or melted metal? Or melted? Wow, Pooh is still watching at 1:41 in the morning. Now that's that's awesome. Ken, wow, your name sounds really familiar. Did you do something with Clash Guitars, and his gold panning stuff? That name sounds really familiar. West Virginia, it's really not that far. That's like a day's ride away. Maybe. Depends on how far off the highway you are. I don't know. I know that a lot of people in West Virginia will pick up, they'll sell bags of, like, I don't want to say concentrate, but I guess it's concentrate. Yeah, just bags of stuff that makes it through most of the, wow, I'm at a loss for words here. Through most of the screens on their pans. And they sell them for, 20, 30, $40 a bag. You might get some gold, you might not. But all right, yes, Pooh, you are dedicated. And everyone who's watching, Pooh has been with me since the friggin' beginning. And that's That's and it's weird. You have someone who's been like following your videos for like years, and sometimes you think, well, this person sees my face but I have no idea what this person even looks like. So sometimes it's like, it'd be kind of interesting to meet some of these people. Sojourner 1511, Moose, I almost died last week, man. I am fortunate to be here. Sorry I missed everything. I will try not to be tardy or miss the next show. Had to go to the hospital again. What the heck? What happened to you, man? I'm sorry to hear you had some problem. Yes, the fines. There you go. I'm in the Ozarks of Missouri. What is that? Is that why you almost died? Because you're in the Ozarks? Oh, seizures. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, I've got a friend who's had seizures, and apparently um, he also had a little bit of a drinking problem, which made them worse. Um, and as each time he'd have a seizure, it would get longer and longer. And once it gets to a certain point, I mean, his doctor was telling him, like, you're basically going to cook your brain. So he started some medication, and he started some um, natural remedy. And he hasn't had a seizure in like 20 years. So, yeah. Well, I'm glad to see that you're back up. Um, yeah, I'm glad you don't drink as well. Uh, it's more for me. What did who drink, Boo? I'm drinking ugly mug mode. Tonight's beverage for myself is a mix of Diet Ginger Ale and Larceny, which is a recommendation from one of my subscribers and someone whom I'm subscribed to as well, Juliet Miranda. She's a bourbon and whiskey connoisseur. She's the one who directed me to that, and I'm very grateful because it's very good. Sojourner just turned 57. Nice. Wow, man, people have been having some health problems. I had 4 spinal fusions in my back. That's the root of my disability. Larceny sounds hot. Well, Ken Jet will be 60 in March. It sneaks up on you. It certainly does. All right. It's getting pretty quiet in here. All right, what else can we talk about? Get my little sorting tray out that I have when I'm watching TV. Oh yeah, I can show you those. So I was visiting with someone in the hospital this week, Wednesday actually, that went to the emergency department, and they had to have EEG done. And inside those little sticky pads they put on them, there were these little things that I was fiddling with, and they're plastic, but they're covered in silver chloride. So that was kind of interesting. So, Mr. Magoo, it's ore or pay dirt. All right, Pooh, I don't drink alcohol anyway. Get random drug and alcohol tested at work. Wow, they test for alcohol at work? Like even if you have something the night before? I can't wait to see your vids on poured copper. Yep, it's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. So, let's see. So here's something that I want to show you folks. Let's set that aside for now. So these things. I don't know how well the camera is going to show them, but these, it was part of a big industrial like fire panel. And these, I don't know if you can tell by looking at the camera or the video quality of it, but some things you can tell that they're silver just by looking at them. These are actually silver plated copper, but these tabs right here and right here are solid silver, and the rest of it is it's all copper. So, and I mean, these things are heavy as heck. Um, and um, one of the things that I've been trying to figure out is, number one, how to really get that silver tab off there, because it's welded right on there. And two, how to get the silver plating off of it, which I'm going to use that silver cell that I'd made a while back for the silverware. But these are going to be one of the first things that I pour for that for those copper pouring videos. That and that power strip that my office was throwing away because they were updating all of them and they couldn't just give out the old ones. All right. Missouri just passed marijuana laws. Some help is on the way, I suppose. Oh, yeah. Well, that's exactly what my friend was using. That's, he started taking Depakote, which was moderately helpful. Then his doctor told him, so well, maybe you should try, marijuana products. And once he started doing that, it's been 20 years since he's had a seizure. So, I mean, it's helpful for some people. Status Enterprise. I started electric scrapping at the beginning of last year. If it wasn't for you, Mike and Ben, I wouldn't have caught up so fast. I would love to give you a crap ton of business tips for the summer. Hey, if I'm in a place where I can start my own business up doing that again, I could definitely use the help. Taxes, EPA, and getting government contracts to pick up electronics and get paid. Wow, that'd be cool. I mean, I've got a friend who works at one of the local schools who, and the schools around here, they update, computers and stuff like that fairly regularly. And he was just telling me, I mean, after he just found out what I do on this, a lot of my friends don't know about this whole side of me. He was like, man, that sucks because we just paid the dump guys to come pick up all this stuff and haul it away. I was like, wow, I mean, I would have done it for nothing. He's like, well, I'll let you know the next time we have a load. So I'm hoping that, the next time, they upgrade stuff, they'll give me a call, but we'll have to see if anything comes of that. Oh, did you see my comment about all the plastic and turning it into a 3D printer? Yeah, I'm not sure how you would do that. I mean, I'm not. I've seen things on 3D printers, but I don't really know a whole lot about them. All right, Burn Row. Thanks again, Moose. Keep it up. Gotta go. It's a large item garbage pickup tonight. Hope there's a lot of computers. Well, good luck, man. Scrap safe. Hope you get a whole bunch of stuff. Ben has the right idea, Moose. I mean, like buying boards and stuff. Oh, okay, yeah. I know what you mean. Yep. 6 plant minimum. In Maine, I think it's a 6 plant maximum. 6 plants in. Well, it just passed like last year. I think it was like 6. You're allowed to have 6 in a vegetative state, whatever that means. Yep, Jabo, it would, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to try and. Someone told me to use a torch to try and get the big tab parts off right here, and then I mean you can see the copper is kind of exposed right there, but the rest of the silver plating is pretty thick, and I mean it's got that dull finish, like it's like elemental copper or something. So I'm definitely going to dip that in the cell and see what happens. All right, boy, you just answered a question I had about connectors used in EKGs and such. Thanks, you. And it was. I mean, it was literally right there while I was in the emergency department. I'm looking at this thing, and it's like all gel and gooey. I'm like, hey, that kind of looks like silver. Oh, 3M electrode. Oh yeah, silver chloride. So it was literally that fast. Mm-hmm. All right, I'll have you know the first episodes happened in April last year. I've been looking at yours and USBN site since. Takes time, tools, and a little bit of money to open an LLC, and a whole lot of patience. Hey, my brother has MSG, monosodium glutamate. It's a Chinese restaurant, and his sorry, MSG. Right. And I think that's one of the big things is that because as far as what Amber just said, um, and this is turning to a political discussion, uh, which is not my forte, by the way. But I think because a lot of states are like legalizing um, the use of it, that not only are we we're going to see a lot more. I think a lot more research done with it. We're going to see a lot more options. Um, I mean, I work in mental health, so I see I see this stuff all the time. So it's not just the green stuff that people can smoke now. There, like you said, there's edibles, there's tinctures, there's oils, there's distillates, there's pens, I mean, there's so much freaking stuff with that now that there's so many safer ways, I guess. So you've got all those people who are talking about, how is it addictive? Is it not? Is it as bad for you as smoking cigarettes? Well, you don't have to smoke it anymore. So there's that. All right. So just the tip gaming. If you get a small shredder, run it till you get small flakes, and then you can get a piece and melt it. Oh, you're talking about the 3D printing. Oh, okay. Yep. But I don't even have a 3D printer, so I couldn't try that. Moose, talking about plastic, have you ever considered making your own diesel oil gas through pyro? No, I have not. I have not. I don't know anything about that. Um, yeah, I'm not even sure what that would involve. Um, I know around here we have a lot of places that will pick up like old cooking oils and stuff like that and turn that into some kind of biodiesel. Um, but yeah, no, I haven't looked up on that. I've been learning quite a bit from you guys. Thank you. No problem. Anytime. Glad to be of service. All right. Looks like status is heading out. Name's Mark. All right. MS. All right. There we go. All right. I'll send you links to the stuff that you can sell the plastic too. Oh, if you could sell the plastic, that'd be cool. As opposed to just trying to get rid of it with recycling. And if it's getting reused, I mean, it's just as good as recycling. Goodbye, Moose. I've got to go watch Gold Rush. Oh yeah, that's right. Gold Rush is coming on. Yeah. Now that's interesting, man. Big pan with like 160 ounces of gold from the earth in it. Wow, that's got to be fun to pull out. Wow, I didn't know the plastics were that expensive. I've been looking at different ways of reprocessing all the plastics, and then Pooh said something about plastic. Have you ever considered making your own diesel oil gas through pyrolysis of plastics? All right. All right, folks. Well, it's about that time. So again, I want to thank you all for coming out. Um, even though I didn't have my right hand guy here, didn't come out too bad. He did step in for a little bit. So special thanks to Bob Gill for stopping in and doing some monitoring there that I would have taken me forever to catch up on. James Murphy, just want to say thanks for all the helpful information. Hey, anytime. I'm glad that I can, if any of the what I feel is useless crap rolling around my head is helpful to someone else, I'm glad to put something together that can help someone else. Well, it's great having you here, Ken. All right. Some didn't know means to put you on the soapbox. Stay safe. Make that money. Oh, yeah. Make that money. Save the planet. One electronic thing at a time. So, again, I want to thank you all for coming out. Thank you for watching. Thank you, especially for folks like Pooh who've been watching from the beginning. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you all the best. Have a great week and month, and hope to see you again. I might be doing another one sometimes mid-February. It kind of depends on how things are going, but at a minimum once a month. So I'll be seeing you all again the last Friday of February. So again, thanks you all for coming out, and have a good night.